Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of YP Crypto. I'm your host Chris, and with my co-host Ant. How you doing, Ant?
All good, all good. Bitcoin back at 61 and a half.
Good.
Oh.
Yeah, it's going up a little bit today. Guys, we are joined with our good friend of the show, David, blockchain and software developer. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here again.
Good. So we had you previous on our other episodes about NFTs. This time we're just going to talk a little bit of just a bit of fun, just kind of ask you a question regarding cryptocurrency, obviously. So, quick question: we've got all these cryptos out. You've got Bitcoin, obviously, Ethereum. You've got Polkadot. You've got Cardano out here. I want to ask you this question: if you had to hold one coin besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, we know obviously everyone wants to hold Bitcoin and Ethereum, but besides them, outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, what coin would you hold for 10 years or more? So what coin would you hold for 10 years or more? Why would you hold the coin? And yeah, we'll go from there. So yeah, bro, the floor is yours. What one coin would you hold for 10 years and why?
Dogecoin. I'm joking. No, definitely not. Definitely not. No, I'm joking. Yeah, for me, it's gonna have to be Solana. I've already spoken to you about Solana, Chris, but I'm super bullish on Solana, and for me personally, Chris, I got into Ethereum like really early. I convinced you and a few other people about how I felt about Ethereum at the time, why I think it was going to be really great. And I'm seeing the same thing with Solana, that there's the same type of behavior and dynamics around it in the ecosystem. And it's kind of building up, if you think about it, it's building up at even faster rate than Ethereum. It's crazy to think that, not long ago, literally in the space of a year, like it was in the sort of 20 to 30 range, and now it's climbed up to, top 5. But there's a reason behind that. So one of the reasons why Ethereum grew so quickly back in the days in the last cycle was because I think I said at the time that the smart contract functionality, that ability to basically create your own little apps on the blockchain, I knew that was going to be like very powerful for developers. I knew that was going to give developers a way to play around and build like all types of products and whatnot. And Ethereum made that possible. It was easy to work with, so it just literally ate up all the developer market share from all the other chains, and it just grew. It grew massively. The Ethereum success has also become a bit of this downside. So it's almost like a double-edged sword because it's grown so big, and because of the way it was engineered, the gas prices correlate like almost in line with the size of the blockchain. So the larger the blockchain, the more activity, the higher the gas fees. And now, we're really starting to see that now. Like the gas fees are insane to do almost anything for simple transactions. Yeah.
I've got 0.3 Ethereum in my MetaMask, but I don't want to move it because it will take up 0.1 of my Ethereum. I'm just leaving it in there.
Yeah.
I just got some old MetaMask wallet, 0.3 in there. But if I move it, I lose 0.1. That's like nearly a couple of £100. So yeah, man, Ethereum needs to sort itself out. It's a joke.
It's crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there are like a lot of initiatives around trying to reduce the gas fees. There's ETH2 and all these layer 2 projects and whatnot. But my concern with all of that is, one, first of all, that's going to take ages. It's going to take a couple of years even. It's going to take time. And this space moves so fast, God knows what will happen in 1 year. The other thing as well is that these solutions are being created to deal with a fundamental problem with the way the chain was programmed. Okay, so in other chains that have had a chance to look at Ethereum's shortfalls and address it in theirs, they don't even have these problems to begin with now. And that's what's happening with Solana. Like with Solana, it's all down to basically, without getting too technical, it's all down to the programming language they decided to build a blockchain. It's insanely fast, and because of that, it allows them to scale while keeping the gas fee sub pennies. Okay, so the same transaction, let's just say when you're creating an NFT, right? When you create an NFT, like when an artist creates an NFT on Ethereum now, usually the common thing is to kind of create a collection of like 10,000 unique NFT pieces that they will then sell. To even try and mint and create 10,000 NFTs, I'm not even going to say the number that's going to cost. We're talking about like thousands and thousands of dollars just to create that as fees. Oh. Yeah. Now, to do the same thing on Solana, you're probably going to pay, I think is, you know, we're talking maybe like 20 to something, $30, I don't know, something like that to do the same thing. It's crazy fast. The fees stay low, but more importantly, that's what you want as a developer when you're going to build an application. You want to build an application that, you want to build an application that can essentially get millions of people. That's what you want, many people to use it, but you don't want them to each pay crazy gas fees just to use your application. That doesn't make sense. So you can't do that with Ethereum. You can't build like a product like that on Ethereum. So that led me to basically explore other chains. You know, we're working on our next game now. And at the time, you know, I was going to look at Ethereum. I checked out Ethereum. I wanted to see whether it was possible to do it, but the gas fees just make it impossible to do it. So that led me to Solana. That's what,
I'll show you your previous game that you made here. So you want to talk about that real quick, and I'll tell the story about what happened with that game in the end.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy. So anyway, this game I worked on it with two friends, Petros and John, and my partners, and we built this game together. We released it on iOS, on Android, and at the time, you know, it did very well. I had quite a lot of players, but then after a while, we decided to basically sell it on to an acquirer. So it got acquired by somebody in the crypto space, came in and decided to buy the project. And his idea was to basically do something with NFTs with the game. And funny enough, you know, we had that idea as well, but we didn't really, at the time, it was just too early, like, you know, in the blockchain space. So we didn't really like pursue it. But anyways, it was a good fit. So we sold it on to him. But anyways, what we're doing now is building up on that concept. So we're building our next game on Solana. And I think for me, Solana just made perfect sense because the type of game that we want to build is going to have quite a lot of activity, especially NFT activity. And it's going to allow us to still keep the game usable without requiring people to pay like high gas fees to do stuff in the game, you know.
So what I gathered from what you're telling me, bro, is that Ethereum, people who are basically the success of Solana compared to like in terms of taking some of the market share from Ethereum will be because, not necessarily because people were just buying the coin, it's because the developers are going to start flocking to Solana, or maybe even leaving Ethereum or not even going to Ethereum and start using Solana's blockchain to start building their dApps, their games, their NFTs. And that's where you see in the long term where it can pick up that market share and grow over time.
Yeah, 100%. Solana is if you want to build a real product, if you want to build something real in crypto, Solana is the place to do it. And I think, so my call is that a lot of developers are going to follow that. In blockchain, in crypto, especially a smart contract blockchain, its only value and worth is the developer ecosystem that it has. If no one's building on that chain, then there's no point, right? Yeah. And that's what's happening. That's what you need to be careful with. Like, a lot of chains will try and tell you that, you know, they're doing this or doing that. But if they don't have developers, then honestly, I don't think there's any point. It's really not going to go anywhere.
Sounds like
Cardano. I mean, I won't really comment on like each chain, but all I know is that developers are only building what I can see on Ethereum, on the Binance chain, and on Solana. And Solana is the rate of developers moving to Solana, checking out Solana is like, it's crazy right now. Honestly, it's growing so quickly. It's growing at a faster rate than Ethereum did in the early days when developers.
You're gonna maybe FOMO into Solana.
Yeah, I'm thinking to sell.
It's a jump off this Ethereum.
I can buy 4 if I sell.
I put it this way: I haven't been this excited about like making for like the blockchain, doing stuff with the blockchain since Ethereum. You know, at the time, I was super hype, super bullish about Ethereum, and I feel that, but even more with Solana, because the biggest advantage that Solana has, now this is the one thing I would say is the biggest advantage, is the fact that the programming language that they're using is one that will keep paying, like it's a good investment for any developer to make to learn, because it means that once they learn it, they'll not only know how to code for the blockchain, but they'll also be in demand in other industries, because in the tech industry, a lot of companies are recruiting for people that are skilled in this language. And we're talking about industries that, you know, the type of industry that are going to be at the frontier of the tech industry. We're talking about like hardware, robotics, artificial intelligence. All these crazy new industries are demanding people skilled in this language. So as a developer, I'd rather learn one thing that is going to still keep paying me dividends, not just in blockchain, but it's still going to keep me in demand in other areas as well. I mean, that's a win for me, rather than learning a language that was made specifically just for this blockchain and that's it. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to basically explain how other developers will think when they are coming across this space. And what I think will happen is that people will come to Ethereum because Ethereum is easy to work with. Yeah, it's easy for developers to get into and start making stuff. But then they'll get to a point where it's like, it's very hard to build actual like usable things at scale because of the gas fees. Let me check out what else I can do. Oh, everyone seems to be going to Solana. Let me have a look at Solana. Oh shit, Solana's fast. Oh shit, Solana's really fast. Oh shit, this is actually great. Yeah, that's the kind of experience I have. And I know like other people are gonna have. And the best analogy I gave you, because it's like, honestly, it's like going from a Golf to a Lambo, like the experience of like developing.
Wow.
Yeah, the UX, the
I like
speed.
to go from a Golf to a Lambo too, man.
But that's how it feels like as a developer. You know, you work on one platform and you're like, oh, okay, cool, this is cool. But then you try another one and you're like, this is really cool and fun and fast, you know. So it's hard to go back after that.
What's your price prediction end of the year, Solana?
I think, okay, so I'm actually gonna say this. I think by next year, I think it's definitely gonna, my bet is that it's gonna bypass Binance. I think at the rate it's growing now, it's easily going to be a top 3. But it is, yeah. That's my bet on it. I think either way, the future I see in the future, is I don't think the one thing I want to say is that this is not a zero-sum game. I don't think there's going to be a winner-take-all thing. I think Ethereum is still going to be there 100%, but I think Solana will be there. I think there'll be 2, maybe 3 smart contract blockchains that developers build on. And Solana and Ethereum would definitely be like 2 of those. I don't know, maybe Binance will still be there, but that's my prediction. That's my prediction for the future.
Price. End of the year.
Price.
It's at
end of this year.
End of this year.
December 31st.
Realistically, so I think it will need to double its market cap now if it wants to get to, you know, sort of the $500 range. Okay, it's at 77 billion right now. Binance is at 105 billion. So I think on the way it's growing, it can easily bypass Binance by next year. But I think to price prediction, I'm personally thinking like, you know, in a sort of $400 to $500 range next year. That's what I'll say, because it has more, like, it's got a little bit more token in supply than some of the other chains. So the market cap needs to do a bit more work to grow for the price to reflect. But I think with the activity that it's getting, you know, it will happen. It'll happen very quick. but it's that's the thing. It's hard to make an actual prediction because the way it's growing right now is just it's mad, man. It's really mad. I mean, I've never seen like this much activity in such early days for a chain. You know, like Ethereum took a while to build up that activity, and Solana has done it in a few months. So it's hard to make a prediction.
Okay.
What about you, Ant? What are you saying? Solana end of the year,
Say about $800 or $900.
December 31st, end of this year, yeah, not next year, this year.
When Bitcoin tops out 2-3 weeks after, we're looking like $900 Solana.
I could see a close to $1,000 Solana. Yeah, I won't be. I'll probably say around 990 by next year, early next year. That's my prediction. And then David's probably right. It'll probably bottom out and then probably trade around 400-500 towards the back end of like the 2022. So that's what, like potential 3 to 4x from this price now. But this episode is about long term. So I think if you think about it, in 2016, 2017, 2018, Ethereum went to from about what, $300 straight up to $1,000, something like that. The back end of 2017 to the early 2018, and now we're sitting on $4,000, $4,500. So, you know, if we're talking 3-4 years from now, Solana could be sitting at $1,000, $2,000 easily. So, the gist I'm getting from you, David, is that you see a very good long-term future with Solana as a long-term investment.
100%. Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to look at it. Yeah, I think that's. Go on, mate. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think like, it's hard. I mean, honestly, I'm always generally like quite conservative, like, you know, with even in the past, with like,
remember your Bitcoin prediction last year, bro? That was $24,000 this time.
I was completely off, man. But I'm super bullish on Solana. Like, even the thing with Solana, like, even if it does, I mean, from a price perspective, you know, that will probably like fluctuate. You know, that will be subject to cycles. You guys were talking about, because again, entry point, people come into the market, they just see the tokens and they want to buy and make movements based on that. But underneath, though, I'm super bullish on the activity and the network and the ecosystem. Like, there's money pouring into this, and I think games are really gonna like push it to crazy levels. There are literally like investors right now who are realizing, because Axie Infinity, games like Axie Infinity are making 10 million a day, these investors are now like pouring money into Solana, creating funds to give to up and coming blockchain games built on Solana. So like, it's still early, but I think games, if you think about it, games, what are games going to do? Like, if games have like lots of players, millions of players, what's that going to do? It's going to bring so many people into blockchain. Games will do that. It'll bring so many people into blockchain without even realizing. And then suddenly they're just like, that's exactly what Axie Infinity do. You know, there are people in the Philippines who, I don't know, might have not even messed around with blockchain and things like that. And now they're exposed to blockchain, they're exposed to crypto, they're making money from it. That's massive. So I think, I'm super bullish on Solana.
Yeah, me too. I might buy one or two.
Yeah, I might buy some when I get off this.
And sell it at $900. I'm playing. But yeah, no, David, that's great insight. I do like Solana. I'm definitely thinking about it, but just great insight in terms of the development side of a blockchain, which is pretty cool, bro. So I really appreciate that. And you got anything to say before we head out?
Yeah, Dave. I asked you earlier, it's about the Bitcoin cycle, the halving cycle, right? Do you think we should wait for someone to buy some Solana in the bear market, or do you recommend people buying now if we're expecting for Bitcoin and the whole crypto space to top out in the next few months?
Yeah, I think it will. It will cool off. I think this crypto cycle has been on a long run. Despite that, I think there will be a cooling period where it's this weird phase. So like the way I can think about it is like when things are a bit like stagnant, but people are building, you know, things are being worked on. Kind of like how Ethereum went, you know, in the last crash first, like everything crashed, but people were still building on Ethereum. The network was still growing and all that stuff. And that would have been the best time to buy Ethereum, just after that crash. But while people are still building and, you know, under the hood. So it's the same thing with Solana. I think what will happen is that it's just had a crazy run. I think it will cool off, and then there's going to be this period where it's going to be stagnant for a while, but it's still going to be growing underneath, you know, the activity, and people are still going to be building. I think that might be a good time to get into, like, you know, building up a position if you want to just like do it in one go. But otherwise, you know, you could just like average out into it. Then you won't really worry about buying overpaying a price or buying too cheap. You know, you just kind of average out over time. If you want to hold it for a long time, you know, averaging out would probably be the best way, I think, just to ride out those up and down cycles. But whenever people ask me, like, you know, is it too late? I definitely think it's not too late. Like, if you're looking at long term, it's cheap right now, if you know what I mean.
That's true.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. That's great information, bro. Guys, if you like that information, please like, share, subscribe, and guys, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you guys. Catch you guys.
Cool. Thank you.